Welcome to Faith and F Boys, and on this podcast, we discuss personal development, millennialism, and relationships through the lens of a Christian woman. My name is Yin.
And I'm Yang.
And on today's episode, we will discuss how the coronavirus is affecting millennials. Yeah, but before we get started, how's your day?
So far, so good. I've killed a lot of things that I had planned for today.
Like
checking
what?
Off that checklist. Doing some, brand content for. I don't know if I can say his
Go
name.
ahead.
Yet.
Oh, okay, no. I'm thinking you were talking about Maya Monet.
Oh no, I haven't worked on my personal stuff yet, but doing some brand content for a Cleveland artist that I've been working with.
Okay.
I'll be able to disclose his name as soon as he dropped the project. It should probably be out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Well, it's already out, but we have to do the promo for it. So
So the official drop is starting tomorrow.
probably tomorrow. We have another
Okay.
meeting after this. So
Again?
I know, yeah.
Y'all
we're not
working.
finished.
That's what I like to hear.
So
Okay.
yeah. Besides that, just been trying to, stay positive and not let what's going on in the world distract me from what I need to get done.
Facts.
So that's what
facts.
I've done today. How about you?
Girl, honestly, I feel like Saturday just disappeared. I did get to post my first G Speaks video.
Yes.
Where I just said, I know that I have a voice. I know God gave me that, and I need to utilize it to uplift people and just basically spark some fire in people's hearts and people's lives so they can get to work, find their purpose, strive towards it, and remain consistent. Things that we're working on ourselves, consistency. So I'm happy that I finally dropped that video, and definitely you all will start to see more of that from me. All right, so now that we're done with our check-in, we can move on to today's conversation. All right? So, Yang, what are some of your opinions about this virus? Are you actually worried about it?
So I feel like I have a kind of unique position in all of this because I work for the government. So it's
feds.
like you with the feds. You would think like I would be working from home. I'm really upset about that. So that's what I started off talking about. No, but I feel like I have a unique position in this because I do work for the government and there's a lot of talk. So I feel like I've heard about things that people might not have heard of yet. And then I have a friend that's in the military, National Guard. So just hearing about what is about to take place or what could take place
Potential
in
things.
our state, in our city specifically, it's interesting. But I am a big conspiracy theorist.
Big time. So we believe in all that crazy.
I'm like, girl, it's the Illuminati.
Because it's more than what we see. And
It
we
is
know
more.
this.
And I'm never too naive to think that,
That is that simple.
That is that simple, that the world has our best interest because, there's just so many things in life, especially being a black woman, that stuff ain't set up for us. So I'm just like, it's something more to this. And
So you're not necessarily worried. You're kind of like, if you were to describe how you're feeling right now with all the hysteria, what would you say?
I'm not worried because, I got God on my side. And, at the end of the day, God did not put fear in us, or that's not of God. So I can't worry about it. As well as, at first, y'all, I didn't think black people could get it. So I was like, oh, I'm cool. Like, I ain't heard about not one person that was black. But that's very naive. There are black people who are also contracting the coronavirus. But yeah, my spirits are lifted. I'm really just ready to tell a word.
Honestly.
I just got over a very bad cold the beginning of January. So I'm like, cool, I only get sick once a year. Not saying I am above the virus, but I do believe that
she is above the virus.
No, I had that Popeye's chicken sandwich, girl.
Girl, stays thinking it's the spicy chicken sandwich from
It might have
Popeyes
been,
that created this virus.
something that they put inside the sandwich, and then when they release that agent into the world, into the atmosphere, it activates in your stomach.
Oh God.
No, but I do feel like I get sick once a year. I have a very strong immune system, and I am taking the precautions that the advice they're giving us about the virus seriously. I'm washing my hands before and after I eat, and that's not something I typically do. And I'm just making sure I sanitize my
You
desk.
said that's not something you typically do?
No, not really. Like if I'm
Girl,
if I'm going to lunch, if I'm going to lunch after, if I'm going to lunch from my desk, typically I'm not washing my hands before. I just don't think about that, and that's terrible because you touch the elevator,
Girl.
you touch the utensils if you're getting like salad at the salad bar in my job.
And I get it. You're not eating with
touching
your fingers,
car.
so you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm not eating finger foods. I'm still eating with a utensil, but now I'm just like, oh no, I need to wash my hands before and even after, because if I go back to get a snack, or if I just rub my nose or something, I just been down in the cafeteria. I've touched the elevators and stuff, and there's a lot of people that come in and out of the government building. And I'm just like, especially not to target anyone, but there's a lot of the immigration offices down there. So I'm like, it's a lot of
That's
people
true.
that has traveled around the world that is there. So I'm taking it seriously. But Black people, we always make a joke about everything.
But there's only so much you can do, because say you wash your hands before you eat, but then you pull out the chair that you're about to use to
Exactly.
eat. Like you just touched something, or say that you just touched. You have the utensils, plastic utensils, and you had to open the plastic container. Somebody touched the plastic container.
Exactly.
That maybe didn't wash their hands. So I feel like some things are inevitable, but I think the thing people should take home is that people need to practice better hygiene and just
And you just want to minimize the germs.
exactly.
Our
There's
body
no way we
is-
can escape them.
Yeah, our body is equipped at our age. Our immune system is developed enough. We
fight it
are,
off.
we can fight off these things. It's just about minimizing, this spread.
Exactly.
So, are you worried?
See, in the beginning, I was just laughing because I thought, and maybe it is, I don't know, I thought the coronavirus kind of spiked due to the Chinese people eating bat soup and all these things they're
It's
eating
not
bats.
bat. It's actually, it is linked to an animal, and a lot of viruses we get are linked to animals.
course.
It's a cross between an armadillo and an anteater, some type of
So I stand corrected.
animal.
More of the story, I was thinking that it was just some sick, disgusting thing that people were doing, and I was watching, I was seeing on the news, we don't even know if that information was accurate, that Asians were dropping like flies. Or for it to come over to the U.S. and to see that it was only, quote unquote, affecting white people. So, of course, Black Instagram and Black Twitter had the funniest videos, and it was just humorous. All during this time, I wasn't even watching the news. So the coronavirus is just something like Ebola. How it's like, oh, they got that Ebola, where it's not actually affecting us. So it's all humorous. But actually, when I started to watch the news, and it did create some anxiety and it did create overall hysteria where everybody it just starts to run, get toilet paper, get sanitizer, get all of these things because they think that the world is ending. And I started to get a little anxious too, that I'm seeing that not only did it hit Atlanta, but it's now in Ohio. 2 people already died. And this is why the reason I started to freak out a little bit is because the media isn't even portraying the virus in truth. It's not even showing that it has a less than a 3% death percentage,
Right.
So you're just hearing that all these people have it, but they're not showing that these conditions are very mild. That is a very low percentage that's actually dying from it, and majority of that percentage are elderly people. So right now I'm calm. I'll be traveling soon, so I'm just making sure that I have all the things to, properly sanitize and just protect myself. But as of wearing masks and all these space shuttle
gloves.
jumpsuits. Girl, bye. I'm cool.
Now, two things I want to make a comment on, and you guys feel free to make a comment on this as well. But I think we did not take it as serious because as Americans, we do have privilege and we don't believe that things are as serious until it hits our backyard.
Oh, yeah.
And even then,
Big time.
people still weren't freaking out until, you know, supplies and food were low in the stores. And I think it's more frightening the fallout from the virus, the stock market plummeting.
Businesses
Now
closing.
kids
Schools closing.
are having to learn from home. So I think those are things that are scary because we know we have a lot of resources in America, but you know, things can become scarce. So I think that is more of what is frightening to me, how people are taking to this virus.
Yeah.
And the ignorance behind it. And I think there is not a mistake. There's no mistake that they're misleading us. It's for a reason. And then, you know, we have our election coming up. And I feel like there is some distraction there. The fact that this virus targets a particular group because of the nature of it, you know, it's already hard enough for elder people to get out and vote. So now they're just completely afraid, which they have every right to be. I think as millennials, though, we have to take accountability, or not accountability, but we have to take into consideration that though we may not be affected, we can carry this virus that will affect our parents, our grandparents, and even for some great-great-grandparents. So I think we still have to have a sense of responsibility on the way we treat the virus. Because, you know, just because we aren't affected, someone else is. So, and that kind of goes into the next question, which, how is this virus benefiting millennials?
Well, me being a millennial, I can explain how it's benefiting myself and then move on to just the general population of millennials. Me personally, I'm an entrepreneur. I work from home. I have a child care company called My Wusa, where we provide personalized child care solutions for working families.
Plug it. And actually...
One of the benefits with all of this is going on, for those that do still have jobs, many of our clients are actually doctors and just healthcare workers. They are still working. They are still getting paid. So a lot of their children, due to their schools closing, and some of them, their schools aren't even closed. They just don't want their children to go in schools anymore. They're left at home with no care. So that is, we've already been seeing an increase in our responses, and people that are trying to transition over to become clients literally this recent week. So, of course, as a millennial and an entrepreneur, tons of millennials are entrepreneurs. This is a time where people at home, where you can start marketing your product, where you can start that YouTube, start that Instagram, IGTV series, just really use that time, even if you are laid off, to start building your brand. And a lot of people will be at home, like Sham was reminding me of this morning. A lot of people will be at home, so the likelihood of people viewing your things are going to increase. Of course,
big time.
Of course, with this, a lot of people will also be jumping on the bandwagon of creating content. So many fear that there will be an oversaturation of content, especially in regards to the coronavirus. But this is not even about the oversaturation. It's just about you having maybe 2 weeks where you're not working, or maybe you don't physically have to exhaust yourself and drag your body to a building to clock into. You get to wake up, and maybe you get to clock in, but you're really not doing work. I'm not promoting that. And you can actually work on the things that you love. So as a millennial, I'm loving the benefits of the coronavirus. I'm sorry, but I know my millennials that are actually en route, that are trying to get to where they want to get to, they should and they could utilize this at their benefit.
Yeah. And I agree wholeheartedly. I think this is the time to really tap into your side hustle because a lot of you will be at home. So, I mean, this is a time to relax if you need a week to relax because, we don't know how long, people will be staying, working from home and how long the kids will be out of school. But this is a time, like I seen a post, start that business plan, make that budget, you know, brainstorm and think about how am I going to leverage this time I have to do something for myself. And speaking of that, because of coronavirus, flights have dropped significantly.
Drastically.
So, millennials are traveling. And, after we get off here, I'm going to book my flight to Miami
Period.
because this is the time. I can work from home as long as I'm sick.
Period.
So, I'll be sick next Friday and that following Monday. And I'll work from home. I already work from home 2 days a week. So I'll just take an extra day. And they really can't ask you any questions. So we're good there. But yes, a lot of millennials are traveling, using that vacation time. And and enjoying life. Yes,
I don't even
it's
think
scary.
they're calling it vacation time. It's like unpaid time off. Some are getting paid time
That's
off. Some are
true.
getting unpaid time off. So, like Sham was even saying about creating that budget, this should just be, first of all, this coronavirus is not going to last forever. It's the percentage to death, the death rate is very low, so we need to stop freaking out, one. But it needs to be a reminder that there's a possibility of a really crazy virus taking place, and just look at the result of this minor virus taking place. So it should remind you that you should be saving, that you should be budgeting, that you should strive to have several streams of income, because any business right now currently, hand sanitizer, toilet tissue, all of these particular businesses are thriving where other ones may be plummeting. So it is good, like right now, I'm not going to say right now, it's good to just have several streams of income, whether you have online presence that's generating income, whether you have the job you clock into, whether you have an Airbnb that's bringing in money. Right now, the Airbnbs, a lot of people that had Airbnbs in San Juan are struggling because a lot of them are having the cancellations because that place is basically going on lockdown. So
Yeah.
just think about if that was you in San Juan and that was your only way of livelihood, that would be eliminated. So it's good to have a savings account, it's good to have investments, and it's good to have other streams of
Multiple
income.
streams of income. Exactly.
That's the future.
It is. It
That's
really
what us
is.
millennials do.
Yeah, that's what we all are working towards. So I think it's important that, we keep in mind that you can never get too comfortable in this
Period.
life because we
Never.
really don't control anything. And, I do think the virus was man-made and administered to stir up some stuff. And it's just not, I don't want it to be just all about America, America, America. Like, whatever's going on around the world, I believe this virus benefits everyone in a way. And so, just keep in mind that you have to be in the driver's seat of your livelihood because you can't depend on
I like that.
no one else, anyone else to provide for you, essentially.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So the next question. So do you think that this could be the end of the world? I've seen posts of people
No.
saying things like that, and people actually, if you read Revelations, you are seeing some similarities, not really, but I get where people are coming from. What do you think?
no, I don't think this is the end of the world. Coming from a spiritual standpoint, I don't think this is. I mean, this isn't really. We are in the times of nearing the end of the world. I believe a lot of things are correlating with scripture, but I don't think this particular event is it.
I agree.
But maybe we are close. I still think we have a couple, like maybe a decade or two
Oh yeah,
maybe even 3.
I know we're gonna live the
Oh
life when
yeah, we
Jesus is
will
coming.
live.
I know we've had too many dreams, and even to talk about dreams, the only thing that's been creeping me out a little bit about the coronavirus, and I shared it with my brother, is that I did have a dream about the end of the world, but it didn't involve like a virus, and not all the time does God actually let you see things exactly how it will be. Sometimes He just puts it in its own way and you take the message from it. But it was in my dream, everybody was on lockdown and there was snow up to people's rooftop. Like it was ice and snow, you couldn't drive. And there were
But
people,
that's how my end of the world dreams are. It's always with snow.
yeah,
It's
and
always been some type of hill coming down the sides of like glaciers. It's never been geared towards a virus. So,
yeah, and it was,
not saying we're right,
and
but
people were breaking in. Just the hysteria that we're seeing was taking place. Everybody's fighting. People were even trying to break into our home. Come to find out, a week later, coronavirus is taking place. So the only thing that has been kind of creeping me out was that dream, the irony of it, and the hysteria that's taking place, and watching the news and things like that.
and I wonder, is even the hysteria that they're saying people have, is that overhyped?
It is.
Because, yes, currently if you're going to the supermarket, grocery stores, there's like no toilet paper, hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes. And then you see oranges in the vitamin section stacked. So it's like, are these just local businesses and people just being greedy trying to resell supplies they know we want? Also, with that, it's making people believe that there are people who are actually panicking. Well, it really could just be people trying to, make a profit.
What my mom told me was that due to the toilet tissue thing, is because toilet tissue comes from China. And they think that there's
Yes,
going to
that
be
too.
a restriction of importing and exporting from China.
Goods,
So,
yes.
exactly, which is not going to happen because we receive too many drugs and medications from China. That's not going to happen. But the world is freaking out,
Yeah.
so.
But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really talked to many people outside of my family about it, but people still seem like, we're in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't see really people walking around with masks on at all, or gloves.
Well, we will be both going to the airport, so but we will see that
Okay,
definitely.
I can expect that though. Airports are filthy, but just like walking around, I have not seen one person with a mask on. So I'm just wondering, like, are you guys even overhyping the hysteria? Like
The media is
the media
showcasing
is?
anything. I mean, they're trying to get their bag too. So anything that will pop, that's clickbait, definitely. But back to the topic about the end of the world. For me, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like Shem was saying in the beginning about how America is so protected and people don't take things seriously until it maybe hits us. I think that's the same thing. There are so many worse tragedies that have taken place in other countries and other
Yes,
places.
this is not the worst.
That exactly. This is absolutely minor. It's just that America is so coddled and so protected and so precious that when one tiny thing happens that shakes up this place, everybody starts to think like the world is ending. When in many parts of the world has been ending many times.
Oh my gosh, for
So,
decades. The famine, the violence in these
the
second and third
disease.
world countries, you would think that every day.
Exactly, the wars. So we
Yes.
can't sit here and take something that has such a low death fatality percentage or rate for us to now sit here and think it's the end of the world. That just shows, one, how ignorant this country could be. Two, privileged. Three, how the media needs to be controlled and stop passing around false information. And four, it also showcases the power of the media and
Why they can't be trusted.
and like Donald Trump says, fake news. Like there's fake news out here. I'm glad the CDC stepped in and started actually passing out real statistics, because due to
Yes.
freedom of press and freedom of speech, we can't stop these people from passing this information. But at the end of the day, it's just like screaming fire in the auditorium. You can actually create chaos. Like, that should actually be something that people aren't allowed to do if you're seeing that you're creating hysteria. So,
Yeah.
no, it's not the end of the world, but the end of the world is coming.
Yes, I agree. So, what are some tips for those that are experiencing anxiety from the hysteria? I suffer from anxiety. I know a lot of people do. And, we seem to be pretty calm, cool, and collective about it. But what about those who, they kind of get wrapped up on what they see in the media or like what's going on around them?
Yeah, honestly, with my anxiety, I got it when I started to really pay attention to when Donald Trump called the travel ban to Europe. That actually gave me some anxiety because
Really?
I was like, okay, so this is really happening. And then when friends that work for the government or work for the army, things like that, are passing along information, it's like, okay, so this really is happening. And honestly, not getting the thing. I was not scared of the virus. I was scared of being quarantined, and I was scared of the hysteria causing a lot of things to be limited, like essential things, food, water, those type of things, and just make people start breaking and doing crazy things to survive because they think it's the end of the world. They think they're about to
Yes.
die. That is what caused my anxiety. And even with that, my tip would be to limit how much you are listening to, like how much you are reading, how much you are listening, because you will think about that when you're sleeping. You will be scared. You will naturally start to worry. And one thing we are not in control of is the future, but one thing we are in control of is just being clean and just continuing to function like it's day to day, because like they were saying, the percentage of getting the coronavirus is lower than the influenza. So we can't then influenza. So we can't sit
Right.
here and start freaking out. Influenza been out here. Some people aren't even vaccinated and they've been just walking around freely, have
Yeah, me
not
too. Yeah, I've never had the flu, and
have
I've never been vaccinated.
exactly. So
So,
people need to stop worrying. And I really do believe in manifestation, positive and negative manifestation. And really I do believe if you continuously think about something and believe that in fear that you're going to get it, I believe that it does weaken your immune system and you will get it. And I do believe that when you do not think about it and dwell on it, it pushes it away naturally from you. But also when you are taking those natural precautions. So, yeah. What about you, girl?
um, so I feel like what would be a tip I would give that you haven't gave?
Yeah,
I
like,
think just to stay prayerful
oh, that's
if
good.
you are spiritual or religious, and people pray in all religions, but just make sure you're surrounded by and doing things that can take your mind off of what's going on in the media. And I know that may be hard for some people because some people want to stay in the house and maybe their favorite thing to do is not in the house. And some people actually get anxious just from being cooped up in a place. And we do have privilege as well. Being in Cleveland, Ohio, it's a smaller city. We're spread out. But think about the people in New York. They're all at home. And, these people are used to being out and about. And they don't even want to go outside. There's millions of people that live in one city. And millions of people that come in and out of that city from all over. So
Girl, and the old people are terrified.
the older people are terrified. But I think, you have to, this is where you cling to God and you ask for guidance and a peace of mind. And that may sound corny or cliche, but when you believe that there's a higher power that is over things you can't control, you have to relinquish the control you think you have to God and solely find peace in that. I think, realizing that there's only so much you can do is you have to accept that. Do your part, pray, and just continue to feed yourself positive messages. I love how on social media there are so many people who are combating that negative and those false facts and news with hard statistics with examples that, we can apply to this situation. Like, oh, this happened and blah, 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 blah. And the rate was this. So in essence, Corona is nothing compared to what we've already overcome. And I think those posts really put in perspective that a lot of things are just overhyped and we don't have to buy into that propaganda.
Pay attention to the facts. Pay attention to prayer. Continue to live your day-to-day life and just breathe and be. You cannot drive yourself crazy over this because when did Ebola take place? Was it during another election?
I remember that. It was 2014, yes, the Obama election.
Like, come on.
Ebola. I remember somebody had
can anyone
brought
really
it to
connect the
Akron,
dots?
Ohio.
Girl, so
I think it's because it's a global thing that everybody is now like.
Girl, but
somehow
Ebola was
this is
global.
different.
It just didn't really touch the United States, really, But now that this has entered the United States, everybody's freaking out. But listen to everything Sham said. Listen to some of the tips I said. Try not to pay attention to the media. It will drive yourself crazy, trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So with that being said, we will be in Miami.
Living it up.
Living it up.
Girl.
And it's not a recording weekend for us, so we will be on the beach.
Period.
Catching a vibe.
Drinking a Corona.
Relaxing. Oh, I don't know about that. No. But yeah, if you can afford to travel, if you have the time, and you know that you are okay as long as you're taking a precaution, I strongly suggest you guys take advantage of these ticket prices.
flights.
And also, too, I was looking, American Airlines right now, up until March 31st, you can reschedule for a different day. It just has to be before your flight would have taken off.
Yep.
So that's up until March 31st. And then you can reschedule for any time within a year. And then, of course, if it's more expensive, you pay the difference. But I think that's pretty sweet.
That's
And that's
awesome.
just with the basic package. This is not a one where you have to pay extra to cancel a flight.
Yeah, this
They're
is one
just offering
with
that.
no travel insurance.
Exactly. So, yeah, you guys, always be uplifted, stay positive. Don't let the world and anyone else really stop you from doing what you were put on this earth to do. And we'll be doing the same.
Period.
All right. So I'm Yang.
And I'm Yin.
And we are out.
Peace, love, and prosperity. Don't forget to subscribe.